Assemblywoman Nicole Maliotakis. I'm making this video because many of you have asked me about the ballot referendums. Those are 3 questions that you'll be seeing on your ballot on Tuesday. The 3 questions were brought to you by the Charter Revision Commission. I just want to explain a little bit about the Charter Revision Commission so you understand how the questions were formulated. First, the mayor, Mayor de Blasio, has appointed all 15 members of the Charter Revision Commission. What's interesting is 7 of those 15 members gave the mayor a total of over $10,000 for his campaign run for the city council and have contributed to him in other races as well. But 3 of those members even hosted fundraisers for him when he ran for mayor in 2013. So nothing says, taking the money out of politics like the mayor himself appointing all the members and then half of those members being donors and supporters of him. So that's something that everyone should just know right up front. But as far as the ballot proposals themselves, the first question relates to public financing of campaigns. As you may or may not know, in the city of New York currently, for every dollar a candidate raises, they receive $6 of your tax money for their political campaigns. This is actually something that I oppose. I voted against bringing it to the state level. During last year's mayoral campaign, I participated in the program because the mayor was already in the program. In order to remain competitive with someone who was receiving the matching funds, I had to do so myself. So in a case where I would have been outspent roughly 12 or 11 to 1 because of the matching funds, I was outspent 3 to 1. I still oppose the program and don't believe we should be expanding it in any way. What the ballot proposal does is actually say now, instead of a 6 to 1 match, they want to have an 8 to 1 match. So for every dollar the mayor, controller, public advocate, borough president, any city council members receive, they will receive an $8 match from our tax dollars. And certainly I don't think that we should be expanding that program by any means. Just to talk a little bit about taking the money out of politics. Last year I had proposed that you have to disclose any lobbyists that do business with the city, any meetings, if they've donated or bundled money for you, that should be public knowledge, particularly if they're benefiting from a project. I also said that we should have a ban on any bundling by lobbyists or individuals doing business with the city. Right now, for example, in last year's election, you can only donate $400 to a candidate for mayor if you're doing business in the city. However, it doesn't preclude you from having some bundlers put together the money for you, and that is exactly what we saw. So this isn't really taking money out of the process, it's just allowing politicians to use your tax dollars to fund their campaigns. Because as you can see by the multiple examples that I gave last year, Jim Capolino, a lobbyist who bundled $90,000 for the mayor, got really sweet deals when it came to lifting the deeds, the restrictive deeds on Rivington House, a Lower East Side healthcare facility that's now going to be turned into luxury condos. Also Long Island College Hospital deal he had been pushing. The mayor was against it before Capolino was for it and pushed him to support the sale of that Long Island College Hospital for development. We also saw, for example, Harold Fettner, who bundled $40,000 for de Blasio, now is getting a deal to build a 47-story tower, luxury condos on NYCHA property at Holmes Tower, which is on East 91st Street in Manhattan, very desirable neighborhood. And now that property is going to be developed by someone who donated $40,000 to, or not donated directly, but bundled the $40,000 for the mayor's campaign. We also saw, of course, the case of Water's Edge Restaurant in Long Island City, Haranda Singh, who had criminal indictments in relations to some unsavory government participation in Long Island. But really what I want to focus here is how it relates to the mayor. He bundled $33,000 in campaign donations from his family and associates. So these are ways that those with the big pockets, those who are benefiting from sweetheart deals from the city, are going around the current system to actually give a lot of money to candidates And so we don't see public financing addressing this by any means. And I think that has to be prohibited, and there's more transparency measures that can be done, including making sure that anybody that's doing business with the city, any lobbyists that are meeting with the city over a particular deal, that all has to be disclosed. And again, let's ban bundling by lobbyists and individuals that do business with the city. The second ballot, so I'll be voting no on the first ballot initiative. I urge you to do the same. On ballot number 2, there's the Civic Engagement Commission. And this is a commission, which we hear about often, consists of 15 members. The mayor would appoint 8. So already the mayor is going to have the advantage of appointing more than half the commissioners, which means that he's going to have control of this commission. The idea of this commission is to increase civic participation. This sounds really familiar. I mean, I just read about a disaster that the mayor caused just a couple of weeks ago when he appointed a chief diversity officer who was receiving $165,000 salary, and the idea was supposed to be to increase voter participation. What's interesting was, so they create this patronage job. They send out a 400,000 piece mailing to individuals saying that they haven't been participating in their elections, and they want to encourage them to do so, or to check with the Board of Elections if their voter registration has been taken off the rolls. And it created a big mess. 1,600 calls to the Board of Elections. People frantic, number one, thinking that their privileges to vote have been revoked or removed, or they fell off the rolls somehow. Or number two, some people actually thought it was a scam, and it was actually an attempt to voter suppression. This is all still under investigation. We don't know who exactly the mayor's commissioner sent this letter to, and we really should know. The public needs to know who they mailed this letter to and why were they put on this list. But two things. Number one, I'm weary of a new commission being appointed when the mayor again has control of that commission. Number two, it says that they're going to be working with different community groups to increase civic engagement. So I'm curious to know what community groups they'll actually be working with. I think the public has a right to know that as well, to try to drive out voter turnout. But three, he just appointed this chief diversity, the chief democracy officer. I'm sorry, I said diversity. Chief democracy officer, and now he wants to appoint another executive director of civic engagement. Is that going to be another patronage job by the mayor? We're seeing all these jobs popping up. The head of nightlife, the deputy mayor of nightlife in the city of New York. It just seems that he's creating a lot of jobs for friends at our expense, and I don't agree with that. So I, again, will be voting no on question number 2. And another good reason to vote no is we already have a Board of Elections that is nonpartisan. And certainly they have 1,000 employees that are doing this type of engagement, letting people know their rights to vote. They have various interpreters available to those who need assistance, and they're doing a great job of outreach. The reason why people aren't voting is because they're disenchanted. They're disenchanted because they see government creating things like this that are just unnecessary when they should be focusing on paving the streets, cleaning the streets, making sure that our schools aren't overcrowded. That's where our money should be going instead. So I'll be voting no on number 2. And number 3 is the last item, which I'm actually undecided on it at this moment. I feel I can go either way on this question, and that is whether the community boards, which serve as an advisory role, and certainly, particularly when it comes to land use issues, people have to go before the community board. They want to make a development, for example. They have a large say. They want to impose term limits for those individuals. Now, let's remember that these community board members are volunteers. They're volunteers who are doing this because they care about their neighborhoods, right? And so currently there's no term limits. They're appointed by the borough president. They also get input from the city council members. And currently what they want to do is put the term limits, so that way there'll be 4 consecutive 2-year terms. And then after that, they'll be term limited out. currently, the borough president, when the next borough president comes in, they have to be reappointed, these members. So in a way, there is a term limit should the new borough president want to remove individuals from the board. There is a process to do that. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this. It's, on one hand, I feel that it's a great thing to bring fresh ideas, a new perspective, and rotating community board members every so often is not a terrible idea. But on the other hand, again, it's a volunteer position. The people who do this because they love the community, they love the neighborhoods, they want to see it flourish. And I don't know that by doing these term limits, will we get people who actually want to do this non-paying job? And so I leave that up to you, of course, as all the three initiatives. It's your vote, it's your say, but I encourage you to remember to turn over the ballot and vote for the three initiatives. You will see them on the opposite side. You may want to bring a magnifying glass with you because the writing is so small, and I don't know if that's done on purpose, but if the mayor cares so much about civic engagement and participation in voting, let's at least make these ballots legible, make the writing big enough so people can actually read it. I don't even wear glasses, and I gotta tell you, I have difficulty reading the ballot. And so bring your magnifying glass with you, and don't forget to vote Tuesday, November 6th. I will be on the ballot as well, by the way, running for re-election to the State Assembly to represent Staten Island and Brooklyn. Again, another term in Albany. Thank you.